Okay, calm down.
One of my favorite people making the case against the ceasefire, none other than my president, Hillary.
Who are calling for a ceasefire now do not understand Hamas. That is not possible. It would be such a gift to Hamas because they would spend whatever time there was a ceasefire in effect rebuilding their armaments, creating stronger positions to be able to fend off an eventual assault by the Israelis. So we're in a very different world. I don't think it had to be the world we're in, but that's where we are, and we've got to figure our way forward through it.
If only she had been elected, and it would have been a different world. It would have been like Libya.
Right.
She did such a beautiful job in Libya. If only we had elected her into office, the whole world would be like Libya. In any event, as a person, as my comrade and colleague Muin Rabbani pointed out, first of all, it's not as if there were a ceasefire, Israel wouldn't be gathering strength. Israel wouldn't be also trying to prepare for the next round. I'm not going to deny that, yes, Hamas will take advantage of it, but it's not as if Israel is just going to sit on its hands during that period. Secondly, a ceasefire, a humanitarian ceasefire, is different than a peace treaty or a armistice. It's because civilians are in a tragic situation. I don't want to say a tragic. Civilians are in a horrible situation. It's showing some humanity to the civilians who are suffering. So it's not as if somebody is saying you're going to end hostilities. Personally, I would want to end the hostilities, but that's not what a humanitarian ceasefire is. It's for people who are wounded, who need medical care. It's to enable food, water, electricity, and fuel into Gaza. That's the purpose of humanitarian ceasefires. Even during the war in Vietnam, now you guys, I know the war in Vietnam is like the War of the Roses, but during the war in Vietnam, there were humanitarian ceasefires. For example, during the at Christmas time, they called for a humanitarian ceasefire. That's not unprecedented. So the refusal to even grant that, to mercilessly ground these people into dust, I don't know. To my recollection, now I could be wrong about this, but this is the first time I think that, I know people are going to say, what about the case of Rwanda and certain other cases, but where a state openly announces that it's engaging in a war of genocide, that's, to me, it's quite unusual. It's also unusual, without going through the history, because it will take us too much time. Before Operation Cast Lead in 2008-9, and right after, the Israelis made a lot of very brazen statements, like Foreign Minister Tzipi Livni. She said, I ordered the people to carry on like hooligans. That's the expression. I ordered our soldiers to carry on like hooligans, and that's what they did. After Operation Cast Lead, the Israelis realized they have a problem, and the problem had a name. The name was Goldstone. Richard Goldstone had published this report, which said that Israel was guilty of war crimes and crimes against humanity, and possible crimes against humanity. And there looked like a real possibility it would go to the International Criminal Court. So Israel learned a lesson from that. The lesson was, don't say things like that in public. You do it, but you don't say it. And so if you look at Operation Protective Edge in 2014, the Israelis made very few, if any, self-incriminating statements. But when it came to this, they thought now the ground was clear. They could say anything. And they went back to their old ways, which was essentially, effectively declaring a war of genocide against the people of Gaza. So that was something new from the operation since Operation Cast Lead. But the same thing happened. It's a very remarkable thing, I have to say, when you watch it. Each time something like this happens, Israel has so much international support. If you remember during 2014, Barack Obama went out and said, Israel has the right to defend itself. Israel has the right to defend itself day in and day out. He kept saying that. But then public opinion turned against Israel. And the same thing happened again. It was so quickly that the reservoir of goodwill that had been created for Israel after October 7th, within about 10 days, it vanished again. It just vanished again because they're so murderous in the way they carry on, that whatever sentiment, feeling, commiseration, empathy you felt by October 7th, it all vanished by October 17th. It's like they're incapable of valuing that sympathy and immediately abuse it in ways which are frankly revolting and horrifying. I don't know where things are headed now, but we're in a more difficult situation, I think, than at any point in the war in Ukraine. We will hear, I understand, but I could be wrong, within a week from the Hezbollah what they plan to do, and then all bets are off.